Welcome to my channel. If you really indeed love English language and you want to speak professionally, before we dive into what we have today, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button and like this video so that YouTube will recommend to others. Let's get started. Today, we're going to talk about food, and trust me, by the end of this podcast, you're not just going to be hungry, you're going to be speaking English like a pro when it comes to discussing your favorite meals, ordering at restaurants, and having those natural, flowing conversations that native speakers have every single day. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably wondering why food. Well, here's the thing. Food is universal. Everyone eats. Everyone has a favorite dish. One of the most effective ways to improve your language skills is through real-life practical conversations. And what's more practical than talking about what you eat every single day? Millions of learners worldwide emphasize that everyday expressions related to food are among the most frequently used phrases in natural English conversations. Now imagine you're walking into a restaurant. What's the first thing that happens? Someone greets you, shows you to your table, and hands you something. Yes, a menu. Now the word menu might seem basic, but it's your gateway to an entire universe of food vocabulary. When you look at a menu, you'll see different sections. There's usually an appetizer section, which some people call starters. These are the small dishes you eat before the main course. Think of things like spring rolls, bruschetta, or a fresh garden salad. Now here's where it gets interesting. In American English, people often say appetizer, but in British English, you might hear starter more frequently. Both are correct. And understanding these little differences will make you sound more natural when you're traveling or talking to people from different English-speaking countries. But wait, after the appetizer comes the main course, which is also called the entree in American restaurants. Now, this is where things can get a little confusing because in British English, entree actually refers to a dish served before the main course. Confusing, right? But don't worry, in most contexts, when someone talks about their entree in the United States, they're talking about their main dish. This could be anything from a juicy steak to creamy pasta, grilled salmon, or a vegetarian curry. The main course is the star of your meal, the dish you're really excited about. And speaking of excitement, let me share something with you. When you're describing food in English, the words you choose can make all the difference between sounding like you're just eating and sounding like you're experiencing something truly special. Let's talk about delicious food. This is probably the most common word English speakers use to describe food that tastes really good. This pizza is delicious. The pasta was absolutely delicious. But here's a pro tip. Native speakers don't always use delicious. Sometimes they mix it up with words like tasty, scrumptious, mouth-watering, or even yummy in casual conversations. If you want to sound more sophisticated, you might say something is exquisite or has an amazing flavor profile. See how much more interesting that sounds? Instead of just saying the food was good, you could say the flavors were incredible or every bite was bursting with taste. This is the kind of vocabulary that will make people stop and listen to you because you're not just speaking English, you're painting a picture with your words. Now let's dive deeper into the actual food items you might encounter. When we talk about cuisine, we're talking about the cooking style of a particular country or region. Italian cuisine is famous for pasta, pizza, and risotto. Mexican cuisine brings us tacos, enchiladas, and guacamole. Japanese cuisine offers sushi, ramen, and tempura. Chinese cuisine has dim sum, Peking duck, and sweet and sour dishes. Understanding these categories helps you navigate conversations about food preferences. For example, if someone asks you, what kind of cuisine do you like? You can say, I'm really into Thai cuisine because I love spicy food, or I prefer Mediterranean cuisine because it's healthy and flavorful. Notice how we're not just listing foods, we're giving reasons, we're expressing preferences, we're having a real conversation. Speaking of preferences, let's talk about how to express what you like and don't like in English. This is crucial because food conversations often revolve around personal tastes. If you love something, you can say, I'm crazy about sushi, or I'm a huge fan of Italian food. If you really don't like something, instead of just saying, I don't like it, try saying, it's not really my cup of tea, or I'm not all that crazy about seafood. These phrases sound more natural and less direct, which is often more polite in English-speaking cultures. And here's another important phrase that's trending right now in natural English conversations, when someone offers you food and you're interested, you might say, I'm in the mood for pizza tonight, or I could really go for some Chinese food. This phrase, in the mood for, is incredibly common and makes you sound like a native speaker. Let me share something really important about English food vocabulary that many learners don't realize. The way you describe texture and preparation methods is just as important as knowing the names of dishes. Let's say you're eating French fries. Are they crispy or soggy? Are they perfectly golden or are they overcooked? When you bite into a steak, is it tender or tough? Is it juicy or dry? These adjectives make your descriptions come alive. Imagine telling a friend about your dinner. Instead of saying, I had chicken, you could say, I had this incredibly tender, juicy grilled chicken with a smoky flavor that was absolutely perfect. Can you feel the difference? You're not just communicating information, you're sharing an experience. Now let's talk about something that happens all the time in real life situations. You're at a restaurant and you need to order food. This is where practical English becomes essential. First, you'll probably hear the server say, Are you ready to order? Or, What can I get for you today? Your response might be, Yes, I'll have the grilled salmon, please. Or, Could I get the vegetarian pasta? Notice those polite phrases, I'll have, and could I get. These are much more natural than just saying, I want. English speakers tend to use more polite, indirect language, especially in service situations. After you order, the server might ask, How would you like that cooked? If you're ordering meat, you could respond with medium rare, medium, or well done. They might also ask, Would you like any sides with that? Sides are the additional dishes that come with your main course, like vegetables, rice, or a salad. Here's where it gets even more interesting. What happens when your food arrives? The server might say, Enjoy your meal, or bon appetit, which is a French phrase that's commonly used in English too. Your response? A simple thank you works perfectly. But if you're having a conversation about the food while you're eating, you might want to compliment it. You could say, This is amazing, or the flavors are incredible, or I love how they prepared this. These little comments make dining out more interactive and enjoyable. And if something isn't quite right, you need to know how to politely address it. Instead of saying, This is bad, you might say, I think this might be a bit too salty for my taste, or could this possibly be reheated? It's a little cold. Politeness in English often involves using words like might, possibly, and a little to soften your statements. But food conversations don't just happen in restaurants, they happen everywhere. At work, someone might ask, Did you bring lunch today, or want to grab a bite? That phrase, grab a bite, is super casual and means to get something quick to eat. Your colleague might say, I'm starving, which means they're very hungry, or I'm stuffed, which means they've eaten too much and feel very full. These casual expressions are what make your English sound natural and fluent. Another common scenario is talking about cooking at home. Someone might ask, Do you cook? Or what's your specialty? A specialty is a dish you're particularly good at making. You might respond, I make a mean lasagna, where mean is slang for really good. Or I'm pretty handy in the kitchen, which means you're skilled at cooking. Let's talk about the different types of food and their characteristics because this vocabulary is absolutely essential. When we categorize food, we often talk about whether it's sweet, salty, sour, bitter, or savory. Savory is an interesting word that means flavorful in a non sweet way, often used for meat dishes or foods with herbs and spices. We also describe food temperature. Is it piping hot, which means extremely hot? Is it lukewarm, which means only slightly warm? Is it ice cold? These descriptions help you communicate exactly what you're experiencing. Then there's the whole world of dietary preferences and restrictions. Someone might say, I'm vegetarian, which means they don't eat meat. I'm vegan means they don't eat any animal products at all. I'm gluten-free means they avoid wheat and certain grains. Understanding these terms is crucial in modern English conversations because dietary preferences are increasingly common topics of discussion. Now, here's something that's trending right now in English learning communities worldwide. The concept of food journaling or describing your meals has become a fantastic way to practice English. According to language learning experts, when you describe what you eat every day using rich, varied vocabulary, you're not just learning words, you're creating neural pathways that make English vocabulary stick in your brain. So here's a challenge for you. After this podcast, try describing your next meal in detail. Don't just say, I ate rice and chicken. Instead, try to say, I enjoyed a flavorful plate of jasmine rice paired with tender herb grilled chicken breast, garnished with fresh cilantro and a squeeze of lime. See how much more engaging that sounds? Let's explore some phrases that are commonly used when discussing food preferences and experiences. When someone asks, how's your food? You have so many options beyond just good. You could say, it's hitting the spot, which means it's exactly what you wanted. You could say, it's to die for, which is an idiom meaning it's exceptionally good. If something is just okay, you might say it's not bad. Or recently, younger English speakers have been using the word mid, which means average or unremarkable. Understanding current slang alongside traditional expressions helps you communicate across generations and social groups. Another fascinating aspect of food vocabulary involves cooking methods and techniques. When you understand words like saute, braise, grill, roast, steam, poach, and fry, you can follow recipes, watch cooking shows, and discuss culinary techniques with confidence. Saute means to cook quickly in a small amount of oil over high heat. Braise means to cook slowly in liquid. Grill means to cook over direct heat, usually on a barbecue or grill. Each method creates different flavors and textures, and being able to discuss these differences shows a sophisticated understanding of both food and English language. Let's talk about one more crucial element that makes food conversations rich and engaging in English: the concept of sharing food experiences through storytelling. Native English speakers don't just talk about food, they tell stories about meals. Last week, I went to this amazing little Italian place downtown, and let me tell you, their carbonara was out of this world. See how that's structured? It sets the scene, builds anticipation, and delivers a conclusion. When you start incorporating this narrative style into your food conversations, you're not just using vocabulary, you're using English the way native speakers naturally do. If you enjoyed today's lesson and want more practical English conversations like this, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Give this video a thumbs up if it helped you, and drop a comment telling us your favorite food. Your support helps us create more content to help you speak English confidently. Subscribe now, and let's keep learning together. See you in the next episode.